2021 was an absolutely spectacular year for movies, no doubt about it. From blockbuster hits like Spider-Man No Way Home to indie surprises like Saint Maud, this past year certainly did not disappoint. But now that a new year is upon us, let's take a look at the very best. This list contains what I believe to be the best of what 2021 had to offer in terms of movies. Remember, of course, that this is just my opinion, and I'd love to hear your top picks down in the comments. Now, it's important that, to me, a 2021 movie is one that saw a wide release in 2021, aka it was accessible to me in 2021. There are a few movies on this list that are officially designated as 2020 films, but I think that's stupid as very few people actually saw them that year. So, that being said, let's dive into my top 10 movies of 2021. In a year with a lot of great movies, the horror genre honestly left a lot to be desired. One of the few exceptions, however, was Saint Maud. The movie follows a hospice nurse named Maud attending a retired dancer, convinced that she must save her soul no matter the cost. Let me tell you, our protagonist is absolutely batshit crazy. Easily one of the best parts of the film, Morfydd Clark gives an absolutely thrilling portrayal of a deranged girl seeking to purify the world, resulting in a movie that's filled with psychological horror and true nightmare fuel. Director Rose Glass completely nails the constant feeling of eeriness and unease throughout the entire movie, making you always feel as if there's something just completely wrong about this girl, that, as nice as her intentions may be, there's nothing good about this so-called protagonist. It's a chilling experience and one I easily recommend for any and all horror fans. I Care a Lot is a film that just keeps its hooks in you for the entirety of its runtime, even though its premise is all but unassuming. The movie follows a con woman working as a court-ordered guardian in order to seize wealthy older citizens' wealth for her own, when she accidentally falls in the crosshairs of a gangster. It's a black comedy, but the quality of the film across all aspects is top-notch. Rosamund Pike is the clear star of the show here. For fans of Gone Girl, just basically pluck her character out of there and throw her in here, and you know exactly what to expect. But there's a lot of complexity to the characters at play here. The film constantly makes you want to root for everybody, making you forget that pretty much everyone involved is a garbage human being. Between the incredible actors and the well-written script, there's little to criticize here, and it's a fantastic ride from start to finish. Marvel Studios took one of the most obscure Marvel superheroes and turned him into one of the most intriguing of them all with one film. When the film was first announced, of course I was skeptical. While I enjoyed the thought of more Asian representation, it was just such an odd choice following the monster that was Avengers Endgame, and it really felt like they were just grasping for straws at this point. But I am absolutely delighted to admit I was completely wrong. If anything, this film is a beautiful love letter to Chinese culture, and everything from the fight choreography to the set design to the score, everything about the movie is infused with as much Eastern culture as they could muster. I know a lot of people describe it as the Asian Black Panther, oftentimes with a negative connotation, but I see it that way in a positive light. Obviously, I can't say for myself as a Caucasian, but at least according to the Asian community on social media, this movie really does represent them in a way that no superhero movie has ever done before. It's also absolutely kick-ass. Simu Liu completely nails the role, the fight choreography is the best of the entire MCU, as it should be, and there is some truly breathtaking cinematography involved throughout. Shang-Chi feels like a breath of fresh air in the MCU, and I simply cannot wait for what's in store for the gang next. There comes a time in everyone's life where they begin to question their identity. Who am I? What's my purpose? For those pondering this question during the COVID-19 pandemic, it can become even more consuming than it already is. That's why Derek Delgadio's in and of itself is such a profound experience. When I first watched it, I immediately grabbed everyone around me and had them watch it with me. The way in which Delgadio articulately navigates his topics, using illusion and storytelling to describe his own journey of self-discovery and giving insight on how to discover yourself, it was unlike anything I had ever experienced. There's little I can say about that experience for the simple fact that it needs to be seen to be understood. I've never in my life watched something as profound as this, and I think nowadays it's sorely needed. Definitely put this one on your watch list. The Suicide Squad is the best DC movie, hands down. I know that might be a hot take, especially when comparing it to The Dark Knight, but that's how strongly I feel about James Gunn's masterpiece. It's a movie that's got the balls of a giant, and I applaud Gunn for taking any and all tropes and throwing them out the window. Each and every core cast member is lovingly crafted, filled with depth and fantastic portrayals by their respective actors, especially that of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn and John Cena as Peacemaker, something I never thought I would say, believe me. There's grit, there's heart, and there's a ton of gore. This movie holds nothing back, and I mean that in a much more layered way than just violence. The Suicide Squad feels like James Gunn's magnum opus. It feels profoundly his. So many blockbuster films clearly show the heavy hand of the corporate leader, breathing down their necks to make sure they follow certain rules and whatnot. But the Suicide Squad feels utterly free of those chains, and it's a beautiful work of art for it. Not only am I incredibly grateful for its existence, but I'm genuinely excited for the future of the DC Universe, if this is the sort of the direction they're going in. Hell fucking yeah. Eternals is by far the most well-made MCU film to date. I can't say best anymore because of another film on this list I'll be talking about in a bit, but it's certainly the most well-crafted of them all, and it's not even close. What director Chloe Zhao has done here is elevated the superhero genre to new heights, no doubt about it. It actually pisses me off to read all of the mixed reviews for the film. They make no goddamn sense. If you actually read the reviews, they're filled with insubstantial claims and little to no explanation as to why they rate it so poorly. I try not to dip my toes too deep into the conspiracy pool, but I'm utterly baffled by why critics seem to hate this film. The cinematography is on a completely different level compared to the rest of the MCU, and the storytelling is absolutely brilliant. I heard one critic say that the ensemble cast doesn't work because we're being introduced to too many characters at once, that the MCU doesn't do that. Guess they forgot about Guardians of the Galaxy. I know I've been ranting a lot about the critics too much here, but basically I need you guys to trust me on this one. Eternals is one of the best superhero movies ever made. Please, please watch it as soon as humanly possible. Raya and the Last Dragon is one of my all-time favorite Disney movies. Its animation is top tier, the story is beautiful, and Raya is one of their best protagonists yet. There's a ton of originality here, as well as being the first Disney princess to be Southeast Asian, another huge win for the Asian community this year. The film has a ton of heart, to the point that its third act brought me to tears. Kelly Marie Tran completely dominates the role of Raya, something the Queen rightfully deserves after all of the vicious bullying she went through as a result of The Last Jedi. But the rest of the cast keeps right up, including Awkwafina as Sisu and Gemma Chan as Nymari. Seeing Raya and Nymari's relationship throughout the movie created such a great focus for the story, allowing the plot to bounce off the two of them and ebb and flow in different ways, creating a beautifully thematic tale about trust and love, enjoyable for anyone. Easily the best animated film of the year. Do not sleep on this one. Alright boys, y'all knew this one was coming. Holy fucking shit. I'm gonna keep this spoiler free, even though you're a fake fan if you haven't seen it yet, but god damn, No Way Home was so good. I'll admit, it wasn't a perfect movie. The more people talk, the more holes you can poke in it, but it honestly doesn't matter. In the same way Endgame's imperfections are insignificant compared to all the things it did right, No Way Home just did so much to uplift the Spider-Man legacy that you really can't fault it. There's just so much there that has honored the Spider-Man franchise in its totality. It really is Spider-Man Endgame. While there's definitely still plenty of room for Spidey to go from here, this really was the ultimate end of an era, and I'm gonna enjoy watching it again and again and again. And again. The Father is an absolutely remarkable film that I know a lot of people are clueless about. It's a film starring Anthony Hopkins portraying an aging man struggling to deal with his progressing dementia. The movie is easily the most profoundly vivid description of the frightening disease, with Anthony unable to discern what is real and what is in his head. It's heartbreaking to watch as this man becomes a prisoner of his own mind, sobbing because he can't even grasp his own reality anymore. It's raw, and Hopkins is best acting by a long shot, delivering one of the best performances of the year. Many families suffer from dementia each year, and this film really articulates it all and brings it to attention. It's not necessarily some call to action, but it certainly makes you want to help. Because seeing this film, it's a hard one, but it's a beautiful one all the same. Before I get to my number 1 pick, let's look at some honorable mentions. Minari, an engrossing story of immigrants just trying to make a life of their own. Judas and the Black Messiah. Jesus Christ, just give Lakeith Stanfield an Oscar already, damn it. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Even though the Twitter army is annoying as all hell, I will admit this Justice League was a great one. One Night in Miami is a necessary film. This is the type of film that should be shown in classrooms, the type of movie that should be a requirement to be a functioning adult. The reason why is that the discussions in this film are the same discussions that many people in America have already had, but they are overwhelmingly dominant in only one race. Black Lives Matter is a huge movement with plenty of controversy. White men and women around the country claim that racism is dead, that they're being exploited by lazy people, ironic enough. But the scenes in this movie, they've already happened dozens, hundreds, probably even thousands of times already. But very few people have actually listened to them. Based off of real discussions between Cassius Clay, better known as Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown, and Malcolm X, One Night in Miami is exactly what we need to be talking about right now. I know it's not an easy conversation. I know it's not a conversation anyone wants to have, but it's a necessary one. Every single member of the ensemble cast brings everything to the table and lays it all out for the world to see. Now it's just up to the world to see it. The problems they faced back in 1964 are still faced today, and since the racist white trash continue to deny it, we just gotta keep pushing that conversation even harder. So please, if you haven't watched this film, you owe it to yourself to do so. It's one of the most important films ever made, and I say that with no hesitation. So, there you have it. Those are my top picks for the best movies of 2021. Let me know your picks down in the comments below. Now, it's also important to say I haven't seen every single movie that's come out this year, so I'm sure I probably missed some. Be sure to, give me any sort of recommendations, down in the comments, or I'll fight with you as to why so-and-so movie actually isn't that good. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to all the cool conversations we can have down in the comments arguing about it. But I would also love to do videos for my favorite TV shows and video games of 2021, but to be honest, there's still a lot more I need to, consume there, and I want to wrap up before I come out with those videos, so they might not come out anytime soon, but just letting you know, I wanted to get this because I've seen all the movies I've wanted to see, although I will admit Tick Tick Boom is definitely the one movie I feel like I should have watched before I made this, but it's whatever. But if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next time for whatever it is I'm doing next. Alright, see ya.